Before we jump in, just want to remind you, September 15th, I'll be dropping a Gala Gold box to one of my subscribers on YouTube and one on Twitter or X. And just want to make sure you're following me on there. Let's jump into this Gala Film highly anticipated Ghosts of Ruin AMA with PJ. What's up, Gala Wookiees? We have PJ, who is with Ghosts of Ruin and Gala Film, here today to chat with the Wookiee a little bit, ask some questions. I'll start off by saying I really think Ghosts of Ruin and Gala Film is really like underrated right now, and I think it's just because there's just not a lot of like I don't know, real public comms kind of going on, right? Like a lot of things kind of coming through, and so I think people just aren't really aware of it. So I love being able to talk with you today, just kind of some of the excitement and just kind of see like your journey too. I've been watching some of the videos you put out and stuff, and you and your wife and your family. Um, and one of the first questions I wanted to ask is, I was trying to find it, but you were pretty big on YouTube, right? And
Yeah,
and your
yeah. I
dad.
mean, yeah. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me kind of on the show today. It's really cool to be able to just talk with members of the community. I think that's been one of the my favorite parts of this whole process is not sort of like our showrunner. He's worked on huge shows for all the major networks and Marvel and all that stuff. And he's like, you have an idea, and then 2 years later, the world gets to hear about it. But by that time, you're already on another project. So it's like there's no kind of able to we're not able to collaborate, if you will. And that's always been Gala's mission, is to kind of like tear down the walls of, you know, the creators and the community. And that's certainly what we've tried to do from day one. So it's just so cool to be able to connect with you and then everyone else in Discord and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing that I've absolutely loved about this process so far, that people haven't even really been able to grasp yet. And it'll be interesting to see when things really kind of blow up and there's like huge, numbers of the community members on how things will kind of evolve and change. But from the Web3 aspect, it's been so cool to literally be able to just send you messages like the person who has created this amazing show and being able to have like that conversation. And especially just the weekly thing of us choosing like whether it's lines, different lines.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like
Visuals.
everything I vote for keeps losing, but um,
Sounds like you've got great taste.
but it's been so great, like getting to listen to like Justin Long, listen to his different
Yeah. Oh my
renditions of
God.
the and it just
Dude.
sounds so great. I'm so excited.
Yeah. And
Um,
I have so many stories like that of like with Justin Long's like session when we were like, oh my God. Cause we were like, most of the actors don't ad lib that much because they're pretty like, okay, whatever your source material is, I'll just read what's on the script. And I had no idea Justin Long was so good at improv. It's like watching like Michael Scott, in The Office when you're like, how much of that was actually on the page? Justin Long, half his lines felt improv to me, like that. I think have made it. I mean, maybe not quite, but some of the best lines he just made up on the spot. He's just got this real chattery, almost like internal monologue that he says out loud. And you're like, I had no idea this character could be like this because he's playing kind of this, as I've said before, it's he's not the bad guy, but he often is, kind of that corporate antagonist role, if you will.
right.
And it brought it from what could have been otherwise a flat character to this, like my favorite character, one of my favorite. I'm not supposed to say what's my favorite character. They're all my babies. Which one of your kids is your favorite, right? So it's awesome, man. This whole process has been a dream come true.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm so glad. I loved your story about how like you came and found Bitbender, and then he didn't message you back. I think that was
he
like,
always he always roasts me because he's like, what happened is like he internally told Bucks, "Hey, I got this guy PJ. We should reach out to him. You should email him." And it was like I had no idea what he was doing in the background, but yeah, it was definitely a big like, oh crap. I just thought I got my ticket and then he goes to me. So anyway, he gives me endless grief amount that no, he was very helpful. Yeah, man, Bitbender's an incredible guy. Everyone at Gala has just been legendary and yeah, if you want to dive into the story of kind of how I met Gala and all that, it's its own. I really like to tell it because I really like to tell filmmakers like there's no one right way to get a project greenlit. You've just got to have grit and a hundred other kind of qualities. And hopefully my story and this project gets other filmmakers closer to making their goals and dreams. That's why we've always done this kind of process of sharing everything we can, if you will, because we really believe in empowering the next generation of storytellers.
So what was your process going from, because you're pretty successful YouTube, right? And
Hmm.
your channel and everything. So when did you kind of get this idea or feeling of I want to do, whether it's like Ghost Room or just filmmaking in general?
Yeah, I mean, my story is kind of the long and short of it is like I grew up doing a lot of type of like mission trip nonprofit work abroad, even in high school. And it's like traveling to like eight countries in high school over the course of the summer. Because what really inspired me is like there's all these needs abroad, and what was so much more impactful was not like me swinging a hammer or like doing menial labor, if you will.
Sure.
It was actually just being a bridge between the needs abroad and then the people who had means back home and wanted to really help out. And so that's when I realized the power of storytelling, the power of telling stories that matter. And, that kind of fledgling photojournalism career really blossomed when I had the choice of film schools after I graduated high school, and they're all like 50 grand a semester. And
Wow.
I'm like, I can't afford this. You graduate film school making like whatever, like $10 an hour as a PA. The math isn't mathing. And I went on this hospital ship for 6 months in West Africa. And first day I'm on the ship, National Geographic is like, hey, they think I'm like the receptionist, like I'm 18 and like just out of high school. They're like, hey, our photographer's called in sick. Can you tell your photographer to like just come out with us tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I'll tell him. And I show up the next morning and they're like, all right, let's see what you got. And they ran my photos, and it's just kind of this like huge, like, okay, like I think early on it's like fortune favors the bold, nothing ventured, nothing earned. Like I really realized like if you want something in your life, you have to do everything you can and control everything you can to kind of make it happen. And if it's within your genius zone and your sort of what doesn't feel like work to you, what feels effortless, then you really can do some incredible things. So that kind of created momentum to go from photojournalism to getting in National Geographic, and then just uh, moving into documentaries afterwards for like the first all in my 20s. Did like human trafficking stuff in
Mm.
Thailand, or I fought against trafficking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
would say that
yeah.
like
Clarify that.
I did human trafficking. No. Awareness, against human trafficking in Thailand for a number. And then it really, the nonprofit side, it kind of burned me out for a number of years just because I hated charging these nonprofits money, but I was getting kind of so good with my skill set to where I needed to be able to support my family. I got married, I met my incredible wife, and we were trying to build a life together to where I couldn't just do it for the cost of like a plane ticket to go out and shoot, this kind of work. So I
Right.
started getting into commercial directing and starting YouTube. And, this whole time I'm playing video games. And I think when the pandemic hit, this is like 3 years ago at this point. I'm 30 then, and my writing partner slash buddy. So we had created this YouTube channel with my dad called Voiceover Pete. It was
Right.
crazy. One of our videos early on went viral, and in like 6 months we had 1 million subscribers. Like nuts, like 0 to 1 million
That's so cool.
subscribers in 6 months. It was pandemonium. It like drained all the life out of me, while it gave me a lot of life too. YouTube channels are like, I wouldn't even say they're golden handcuffs, because the reality is we didn't make a lot of money on it. It just was this like crazy experience. We're like, oh, we can do it. We really can. Like it was almost like a belief thing. I After about doing 6 months, the pandemic hit, and we had time off. And so Ryan, who you guys know is Ryan Ramsey, co-creator of Ghost to Ruin,
Yeah.
he's like, you know, we realized what we knew. They always say in Hollywood, if you want to write a story, write what you know, right? So we knew content creation. We were content creators. We knew what it was like to play games, to do esports, to do Twitch. So those kind of characters were inside of us. We were playing a lot of battle royales, when Fortnite, Apex, blah blah blah. And we were thinking like we've never seen any kind of like battle royale video game type of plot. There's other films and IPs that have kind of done that, but like at that time there really weren't great video game movies. And we're like, what if we could write about our experiences as kind of like content creators and esports players, but really try and level up those stakes. So, as you guys know with the Ghost of Ruin plot, it's kind of 100 of the top gamers in the world
Right.
come to compete in this kind of battle royale. And of course, we didn't want it the traditional, like, there's a lot of cliche ways for the story to go from there. But I think what really started to give it nuance was Ryan working at the mental health hospital. And he would come home with, big, like a black eye, or he would just, really get like stabbed by patients, poop flung at him. Like, he was having all these horror stories because these patients could not understand reality from non-reality. Their trauma was so great, they could not, when they came back to the real world or the mental health hospital, they couldn't process things.
Right.
So we were like, well, what if in the future, as we know, Elon Musk's developing Neuralink and all these things, like when games are processed in a mind and therefore are like as real as they are in real life, why wouldn't the trauma that we experience in these games feel like it happened to us in real life? And therefore, is there this huge potential risk of like intense PTSD, acute PTSD that
Right.
we're going to face in the next, 10, 20, 30 years of gaming? And then what if we kind of combined all those elements into this core story? And that's how Ghost of Ruin was born.
I mean, even just VR
Yep.
you're there. I played
Yep.
like this scary game, and I hate
Yeah.
scary games, but I did it
Yeah.
anyways. Man, my like the goosebumps. I ripped that thing off my head when I like got killed. That was the scariest thing, like ever. And that's just VR, right? That's not even like adding
Exactly.
in all these additional kind of feelings and stuff. Um,
Yep.
so are we gonna recognize some of the I guess content creators, that or I guess are any of the characters based off any content creators that we know, or did you have to kind of be
Yes.
careful with how
So
you did that?
that's a great question. So how we wanted to approach it is to establish a lot of the leads of the series initially as established actors, which we've done, or the team has done an incredible job of getting, you know, some of the top celebs, like on our core team of characters. And like I think the best way to work with influencers is to have a core cast of like incredible actors, and then to be able to integrate over time influencers to support the story. And so that's kind of been our methodology, where these first 4 episodes is setting up. We've got six core characters, six
Right.
gamers. They're all really established actors, and they're phenomenal. And then in the next 4 episodes and beyond, that's when we get to bring in a lot of influencers.
Okay.
It also really helps. One, it helps on sort of talking to these influencers on, hey, here's the show. You already see these 4 episodes. It's also, they get to fall in love with the world and the
Right.
characters. It's a bit easier of that dynamic
Okay.
than coming to them out of the blue, if you will.
Yeah, sure. They kind of see
Yeah,
it and they're like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this?" Because yeah, I mean, there's so many streamers that I would like recognize immediately, right? If you had them
totally.
in there, like Doctor Disrespect or
Oh yeah,
Shroud, Tim the Time. There's so many guys out there,
yeah,
and
and
ladies.
my dad worked with a lot of those guys. And yeah, I mean, I certainly dream of a world in which we're able to work with the Mr. Beast one day and his gang. But yeah, obviously I can't confirm any of the influencers that are set next, but that's kind of the next phase as we're starting to 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 prepare for the next 4 episodes,
Sure.
is a lot more influencers. And it's going to be a blast. I've also got a short list of like some of my favorite obscure, because I follow Rocket League. It's like my big esport. And so there's so many great casters. I'm like, that voice would sound great in our series. So it's weird to be able to kind of bridge those two worlds, because I don't think many Hollywood productions have effectively utilized YouTubers
Right.
yet.
Right.
So
Yeah.
to be,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be cool to be one of the first productions that does that effectively.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. So, I guess going into that, how did you score Rosario Dawson? Was that more Gala
Sounds.
Film, or did you were like?
The correct wording is, how did we
Oh,
cast
sorry.
Rosario
How
Dawson?
did
No, I'm just
we?
kidding. I'm just
How'd you cast Rosario Dawson?
kidding.
Who did most of the work getting the star-studded cast? Justin Long
Yeah,
to Rivolari.
it's you know initial. So Michael and Katie, my two producing partner, like they're the ones who like are keep the show on the road. They are incredible. I cannot speak highly enough. Their background is doing, putting together TV shows and all that. And so they worked with a really good casting director named Renee. But Hollywood in reality works kind of like you're inviting people to a party in high school. It's like, you go talk to the head cheerleader. This is like American cliches. If you
Yeah,
you
yeah,
talk to
yeah.
the head cheerleader and you say, "Hey, Timmy, head of the football team, he's coming to the party and he really asked for you to be there." And then you're like, "Are you coming?" And she's like, "Well, if Timmy's there, like, yeah, I'll come." And then you go to Timmy and you say, "Hey, Barbara," I'm using like the most generic 1950s American names ever. Barbara, Barbara's coming to the party and she wanted you to, bring your friends. And she's going to bring her friends. And then so it's like, oh, yeah, well, if Barbara's in, then I'm in. And then you go to Barbara's friends and you say, "Hey, all the guys on the football team are coming. Do you guys want to come?" And they said yes. And then you just keep literally ping ponging this together. And then you've got a killer party and like, welcome to showbiz. The lessons carry on. So our kind of lead actor that we first worked, Michael and Katie had worked with Tony Revolori before.
Okay.
I mean, I love him. He was amazing in Grand Budapest Hotel. He's in Spider-Man and all these awesome films. So once we got Tony, I think it was like an anchor for us to then go out to a lot of other A-list celebs. And then once we got Rosario, everyone's like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
work with Rosario. No problem." Like it's Hollywood.
I've been watching her the last couple nights.
Oh yeah,
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my god, I'm pumped.
yeah. So that's been good. Um, so for all the music and the sound effects, I know you guys been working with Bleeding Finger Studios. To do a lot of the sound and everything. Um, in addition to like all the sound effects and stuff they've been making, have they done kind of cinematic pieces as well, like kind of music intro scene stuff, or have you reached out to any other artists, I guess, for the first four?
Uh, so are you saying just for custom score, like the score of it?
Yeah, so like in the trailer, I don't know who that was actually, but you guys have a song in the trailer. The
We do. Yeah. Trailers like temporary music.
yeah, the teaser.
I'm not sure. So all the score will be done by Bleeding Fingers. To my knowledge, the main theme, kind of like Game of Thrones or Last of Us, I think it'll be like a score theme.
Right.
And we are intending, this is what we'll have to check with the team if it gets cut or not, but our intent is to potentially work with some Gala artists
Yeah, absolutely.
from the Gala music community.
City of Sound.
Okay, we'll
You
check
guys
them out.
have to talk with them. Plus, they love Rocket League. Their lead singer is
That's
huge
right.
Rocket League fan. Esport, with Rocket League, they actually did some music for Rocket League too.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but the reason I mention them is because if you listen to them, their music's like for me is like very cinematic kind of music,
Yeah.
and like who makes an 8.5 minute song anymore, to like lead you
Yeah,
down
not
this like
since Led
journey,
Zeppelin.
you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just have
that's
to
awesome.
have to throw
Yeah,
throw them
we'll
out. But
we'll
that's
check them
Gala
out.
music, yeah.
We've been in talks with a couple really awesome Gala artists, and also of course on our cast is Alexa, who is
Right.
an amazing K-pop star. So I probably can't say anything specific, but it is realms we are exploring to yeah have artists on the soundtrack.
Right. Right. Yeah, you guys are doing so much. I don't know how you guys are handling anything. Like even if you were working literally every hour every day, it seems like there's just so much to do.
There is, because we wanted from the start not to create a TV show, but um, a a world. Uh, I hate the word cinematic universe is really overused, so we don't use that anymore. But like a franchise, a brand, like
Right.
it. I don't think it's enough these days to just be one thing. I think you have. It's like Pokemon. It's like Pokemon wasn't a TV show. It wasn't a game. It wasn't a card game. It was more than all of those collectively put together.
Right.
And that's what I think is so great about the anime genre, is that it is so brandable. People really identify with the characters, to where it's like, oh no, Juggernaut represents me, or something. Like, we really do want like a bit of that cultural phenomenon sense to inspire gamers to resonate deeply, more than just they like the show. But it's like, no, this is the most pious thing I've ever said, but like, it can become a lifestyle, if you will, because
Right.
I'm inspired by so many shows that also feel like a part of my life, or even a part of my like journey. Like for me, it's like Studio Ghibli films. If you've ever seen those, like Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke,
Okay,
like everything I do is influenced, in some level by some of those like great animes that have
right.
come before us. So yeah, it's been cool.
Well,
Um,
and
how do how do we do it? We have a really incredible team, but it's just a lot of different like experts in their fields, and really Michael, Katie, and I just kind of coordinate everything more so than us actually doing the work anymore. Like I'm not writing scripts anymore. I'm not directing any of the episodes. It's really just coordinating these incredible artists that are working on the IP.
got it. Yeah, and you might not be able to say, but I know that a Ghost of Ruin game is in some development. I have
We
that
would
little
we,
I have that little clip somewhere in a video.
we would be remiss not to explore that territory, considering that Gala
Is
is
a big
a sort
ecosystem.
of
Music,
a kind of
games.
trinity.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's like I said, we're building a franchise, not just a show.
Yeah.
But that's all
But
I can
the
say.
show, it'll be cool to see the show kind of kick it off,
Yeah.
see how people engage with it, love it, and then just kind of see the growth from there. Will be really cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because I think that we're seeing that a lot more in recent day and age with like Cyberpunk Edge Runners and Cyberpunk, League of Legends, and Arcane.
Yep.
They call it transmedia, is like the official industry term for it. But in reality, I'd like to think it's shows are a lot sometimes wider funnels than the games allow to like your non-gaming crowd.
Right.
It can get people to play those games, but and more importantly, I think it can create a deeper emotional resonance with the story, with the themes, with the world.
Right.
Like I liked playing The Last of Us, but after I watched the show, it was
Like,
so much more of a visceral kind of experience. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I felt that with Arcane as well. I mean, they did such a
Yep.
great job with it. Now it took them like 5 or 6 years, which that sucks. But
I know.
I will admit that it was great. The music
Yep.
they had and everything was like super great. Um,
Yeah.
for like Michael Ryan, what has he kind of brought to the team now? Has he like adjusted like scripts at all, or like is he kind of like an overhead producer? Like how is he kind of
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a great question. Also, that's an internal joke in the team. Like, what do you bring to the table?
yeah.
Because I said it one
And
time
if people
to
don't know, Michael Ryan has been on everything,
all the
Marvel
things.
stuff, like everything. So
Yeah. 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 But I mistakenly said one time early on to Mike Ramey, my partner and co-producer. I said, "What do you bring to the table?" Or like early on, and he's never given me crap about. He gives me crap about it at every available opportunity because he does so much work, and I'm always asking him for advice. And it's like, this is what I bring to the table, PJ. Mike Ryan is our showrunner, and so what I think like if you're not in the filmmaking world as much, it's easy to understand on movies how a director is kind of like runs the show, but the difference between a director on a movie versus a TV series is that a showrunner will exist across many 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 seasons, and in many ways the writing is more important to the continuity of the story, of course, than it is like the particular visuals or the shots. And so a typical like season like Game of Thrones will have like, I don't know, you could have like 5 to 10 directors over the course of that one season. Um, and the showrunner is kind of God. We like to call Mike Ryan God. Like that is the unifying voice that everyone kind of pays homage to. And then it's their job is like, so we have a director on Ghost of Ruin. His name's Terry Marchant, and he nominated for an Oscar. He's incredible, but he's working like Mike Ryan is the writer, he oversees the director, and then he oversees animation. So it's kind of this mix of like producer role, overseeing the director, and then also just writing the characters. Like he's the final say, the final voice, the final truth. So bringing him on was so important because obviously I'm a young filmmaker, if you will, and we needed that veteran authority, when and also the security, knowing that we're going to hit our deadlines, and this because it's crazy. So yeah, he's been amazing. So he really like he works the most out of all of us, hands down. Like he's based in LA, and a lot of times he'll be up at 5 a.m., 4:30 for calls with the team in the Canary Islands. and then he's on late night phone calls with us. So it's incredible. Yeah, he's priceless. Yeah.
And I know that you're like, obviously you said that you're done with the kind of the writing for the episodes and stuff. Have you already done the writing for like season 1B, season 1C, like that
Yes.
stuff too?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's all sort of in revision underway. Like we're
Got it.
looking to very much start as soon as we're done with the first 4 episodes to immediately begin animation on that. So in an ideal world, it all comes out next year as like a complete season.
I'm worried I'm gonna watch the 4 episodes and then just be dying, right?
You
To
will.
like keep
You will.
going and
Don't
having
worry.
to wait,
Don't even
having to
worry
wait.
about it. It'll crush your heart.
Uh,
But we've got some other cool things on the horizon that should tie you over. That's again, it's not just a show, and we're really trying to have other verticals that make everyone happy in the meantime.
yeah,
Is all I could say about that.
yeah, keep us busy. Yeah, and
Yeah,
for people watching, kind of the big Easter egg for some of my fans is they can see my face in these first 4 episodes somewhere
that's
dead.
right.
They'll have to guess.
Dead.
They'll have to guess and figure out where, but they'll have to figure out which face is the dead actual Wookiee face in the show.
Yeah, I
So
don't think for copyright reasons we can have a real Wookiee in our show.
maybe just a really
Um,
hairy face, like just lots of hair.
yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, I won't spoil which sequence you're in. You're
Yeah.
welcome after it comes out to tell everyone, hey, check this out.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm excited too to see just how everything kind of evolves with like other streaming services and stuff too with Gala Film. I know they've been making tons of connections, and all the
Yeah,
other kind of movie stuff that they've already been doing. I'm sure you've kind of followed some of the stuff with like Witchboard and Four Down and some of the things they've been making.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And that's
Pretty cool.
I can't speak for Gala on that, so we'll probably try and steer clear of this. But I think the balance, I'll say from like a philosophy standpoint, I think everyone's in alignment that us at Battle Island and Gala Film want to create the best experience possible for Gala community members. It's almost
Yeah.
like you got well, yeah, I can't. There's
So,
like language I can't
uh,
even use, but it's the best possible experience and also the best possible distribution. And so
right.
the question always is, how do you marry those two things?
Yeah, it's hard.
And that's what we're all just kind of
We're pioneers,
working
right,
out.
with all this stuff.
Exactly.
So it's new.
Yeah.
I've been watching how they've been doing with stuff with Gala Music, so I'm sure there'll be a similar like all access store kind of thing, with Gala Film
Hmm.
too, and experiences, right? Because I know Bucks always talks about how like, it's things that like money can't buy. These experiences,
Right.
that you have the ability to do or see, which is cool. Um, so yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how everything evolves. I'm really excited about it. Now the actual Battle Island, is that in Canary Islands then? Or
No, it's kind of our internal entertainment company that's kind of over the Ghost of Ruin IP. So yeah, that's our internal team, company, if you will.
yeah,
It's me, it's Michael, Katie, and Ryan, and what we bring to you. But yeah, the Canary Island animation studio is called Be Water Studios. They're incredible, and I can't wait for people to actually see the like the shots from the show because we should be able to put out a teaser in the next month or so. And from what I've seen so far, it's like holy crap. It's just
yeah.
it's its own new art style that I think I just it looks so cool, because that was the big thing is like, can we do this hand drawn? Does it have to be CG? Okay, if it's CG, can it look unique? Can it not, kind of look, um, can it look like something totally new? And it really does. I today I was just like blown away at how good everything looks. So I'm pumped
Yeah,
for everyone
yeah.
to see it.
Because that teaser trailer you guys dropped, it was short. It was short.
It was
So I
short, but also
got
it
to see a
wasn't
little bit.
like we didn't have any footage really at the time. We had one kind of sequence that still is baking, if you will. It's like, it's like a flourless cake, if you will. And then we had a bunch of stock footage and put music. We really built that for Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But holy shit, this next teaser is phenomenal, and I'm so pumped for everybody to see it.
Well, I'm pumped too. I've been following all the Ghost of Ruin stuff for sure as it's been going because it's I've been the most excited about it for sure. So I definitely can't wait.
Yeah. It's just been cool to be able to connect with everybody, to kind of keep everyone posted in real time. I mean, that's certainly like we're here for the long haul. Like it's like I said, it's a universe that we're building. I my intention is not to just show bits of the show, but also show the other verticals that we're creating, which hopefully we can announce sometime in the next couple months or something like that. But I want people to see those too, because I really do believe that as technology gets better over the next few years, more and more storytellers are going to be able to tell the stories that they've been dreaming, that they've been hoping about. Because again, like I'm trying to create the experience I would have killed for as an up and coming creator, right? And to show you guys, it's this is how we're doing it. This is kind of our model. This is our philosophy. In hopes that it just empowers the community to create better art.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming on and chatting with me. I totally meant at the beginning to be like, hey, thank you so much for the merch that came in
of
the
course.
mail. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, of course. It was a bribe to get me on the show. I know you're booked up these days.
I know, right? The stickers are so cool too with the QR codes on them and stuff. Because
Yeah,
everybody loves scanning a QR code, you know, just to see like where it'll take you. So I'll have to put them to use.
that's right. Just tag cars when you're at the parking lot. Just slap them on there. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me on today. It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to share more and stay in touch with everybody.
yeah. I can't wait to see more. So I'm super pumped about everything goes through. And so thanks, PJ.
Awesome. Sounds good. Talk later.
All right, bye.